Hello, creativity. Today we're going to dive into creativity and how you can use it in almost anything you do in order to enhance your work and to clearly and efficiently share information with an audience. We will learn some quick tips on how to take your work from ordinary to something more extraordinary. The art or skill of creating and combining text with graphics or images is the work of a graphic designer. But if we apply these principles of design to our work, we too can create some amazing products. To help you remember the 4 principles of design, we will use a mnemonic device. Just remember the word CRAP. That's right, C-R-A-P. Let's learn what these letters stand for. The C stands for contrast. Contrast means that the elements that aren't the same should be very different so they stand out and are easy to read. For example, this top image and the bottom image have a much different contrast. The top image is hard to read because the background color, red, and the foreground color, blue, are both very bright colors. On the contrary, the bottom image with the background color very light and the foreground color very dark is much easier to read. Let's look at another example. Contrast helps visibility. Making things only slightly different can make the work hard to read. In this example, the background image has been reduced to 50% opacity. It's still a little hard to read if you compare it to this image that was reduced to 15% opacity. This has a lot of contrast and therefore makes it easier to read. You can also have contrast in size. This title image, Railway Heavy, is a very large font compared to its body text. This helps the reader know that the title is right here and the body text is down there. So also make sure that you have contrast in the size of your text. Contrast can draw attention and help readability. Something small can make a big difference. Now that we've learned about contrast, let's learn about the R in CRAP. That stands for repetition. Repeating visual elements of the design throughout the piece is the principle of repetition. This brings a sense of uniformity and professionalism to the work. You can repeat colors, fonts, sizes of fonts, shapes, and even line thickness. In this example, you can see that the colors of the titles all repeat. The fonts for titles and subtitles all repeat, as well as the color of those fonts. The shapes that they use, the lines and the thickness and the little circles at the end also repeat. There is a lot of repetition on this page. Repetition can help unify your work. For example, if you have 1 page or 2 pages that include similar elements, we know that those pages go together. You can do this across many slides, on a website with different pages, or even on a poster that's just 1 page. Never choose more than 1 font or 2 to 3 colors. You don't want to make your design have a different font for every title and for different paragraphs. Now that you know the C for contrast and the R for repetition, moving on is the A, which stands for alignment. Alignment says that all elements should line up and be organized. Every element should have some visual connection with another element on the page. If I'm looking at this design, most programs now have a snap to grid feature where you can see if your elements, such as this line and the title, line up perfectly with also your paragraph or body text. You can have straight alignment, or sometimes a designer will even tilt it. However, there is still a straight line that you can see and visually draw with photos as well as the body text. Again, they apply that alignment in the title and the short description. Nothing should be pasted on a page or a design arbitrarily. When someone throws images, text, titles, icons on a page without thinking of alignment, we call that visual vomit. When this happens, it can cause confusion for the reader and it can also make your design unreliable. Alignment helps organize the work. When you have visual vomit, it's hard to know what to read first, next, and last. Now we're on our final principle of design. So we have C for contrast, R for repetition, and A for alignment. The P stands for proximity. Proximity says that elements that are related should be grouped together, whereas separate design elements should have enough space between them to communicate that they are different. Let's take the example here. We have a left for before and then a right on after. On the left, all the information for Swan Lake was kind of hidden within this body text. What the designer did was take out the title and where it was, and then separated about the show with some of the details of how to get there. This groups some similar elements together so the reader could quickly read the flyer. Another example is the table of contents. Here you can see that there are page numbers, and then tucked up very close are the topics or the titles of the articles that will appear on those pages. Grouping elements together helps your reader know where to look. So now you know the principles of design, and you can hopefully apply some good contrast, repetition, alignment, and proximity to your future designs.